Good morning, everyone. Oh, my voice, I forgot to drink some water. Good morning, everyone. Rise and shine. It's the day that the Lord has made to be glad in it. We are here talking about every day waking up and just making sure that everything that we are about to do, about to say, the Lord has blessed it. And this is why we come today. So before I dive into introduce our guest speaker, allow me to welcome you all to our 7:30 calls. We call them the 7:30 Academy, where we just come on live stream to make sure that whatever we're doing is good and whatever we are saying is what really we want to do to all of you here. I would love to show off that we have been doing these calls for the last 3 years plus. Every day, Monday to Friday. Mondays, we come here with Rave Water, Unleashing Your Destiny with Prosperity Insights. Tuesdays, it's Mindset Change. It's about what we feel and how we want to progress our lives. Do we want to stay in this mindset, stay fixed mindset, where things can just work, or do we want to be in the growth mindset where we are dealing with everything else in the 6 areas of life? Because everything that we do must be around the 6 areas of life, and it covers everything so that we are really like total persons. And that's with me, Life Coach. Wednesdays is our market day where we invite every one of you to be able to socialize with us, bring your products and services, and just talk about how you have improved your business or how you market your business so that other people could be able to know about what is going on. You can subscribe with us and we can invite you there. On Thursdays is Prosperity for Your Soul. This is how we come here with Doc Nelly from the way we wake up from our bedroom to when we go and put our heads into the boardroom where we are going to be able to exercise the things that we love to do. And on Fridays, we come with health tips with Doc Jackie. Prevention is better than cure. And this really is what makes us wake up every day because we're trying to listen to her as we progress on our days. We are here today and it's Tuesday Mindset Change Process. We are dealing with social and cultural spoke of the wheel of life. Why did we choose this topic, networking for success? It's a deliberate topic because I have a special guest for you. And the special guest is sitting in Cape Town. I hope the weather is good there. Here it's trying to get warm now, but we've been freezing. So every day we have to protect ourselves. And this networking, I met her through a networking process. And this is why it's so exciting to find someone who you have met through networking. I met her when we were doing our corporate governance. We were being trained by IFC World Bank. And from that time, we have gelled. We have really gone through a lot, and it's just so exciting. And one thing I can tell you is that I have seen Prof grow from a young lady to who she is today, leading institutions. And I'm so, so proud of you. What did I like about the networking with Sombo? Is because she was that young lady who was so brilliant, who used to see things that even the elderly people would not see, and would come back and say, how can we do this? So I really, even when I was chairperson for, in charge of membership at IOD, I would say, young lady, who can we bring in? She says, we must introduce school, the young people from the universities, from the colleges, so that we can start to create directors. And we achieved that. So when you've got something that people are looking up to, or when you want to socialize around yourself, what value are you bringing? And you can develop this value from the networks that you believe in. So I'm so proud of your achievements, Prof. And I would just like you to introduce yourself so that people can hear you, because I would be able to introduce you properly, because you've been gone. You've been gone for a long time. So welcome to today's sharing.
Thank you so much, Aunt Sylvia. I'll still call you Aunt Sylvia like I addressed you 10 years ago when we were in that class at Pamodzi Hotel, learning about how we can be trainers of trainers in corporate governance. It was May 2013. I remember that so well. Thank you so much for having me here. It's such an honor for me to be on this conversation today and share a little bit about my experience with networking. So, like has been said earlier, my name is Somba Mozata, and I'm currently an assistant professor of political science at James Madison University in the United States of America. As we have this conversation, I am a Carnegie African Diaspora Fellow here at the University of Pretoria. So it's a joint fellowship that's supported by the Carnegie Corporation of New York, and I'm based here at the University of Pretoria in the Department of Political Science. So prior, I worked in Zambia at home. I used to be country director for the Swedish development organization Diakonia. And like Aunt Sylvia had said earlier, when we met in 2013, I was just a kid, you know. I don't think it's 2013. It's earlier than that when we did that training.
Yes,
Yeah, I think it's earlier than 2013 because by 2013, that's when I became the acting country director. We met before that. So part of the mentorship that I got in the Institute of Directors is what actually launched me to becoming the country director. So I think it must have been 2010 when we did the training, I think.
yes. I was just
Yeah,
looking on the pamphlet so that I could remember
yeah,
something that we were doing. Yeah.
yeah. I think it was 2010. So, yeah. So prior, I worked as country director for a Swedish development organization. And before that, when I met Aunt Sylvia, I was just working in the accounts department. I was in charge of the finances for the Diakonia office and also responsible for capacity building of the partners then. We had like 16 partner organizations in Zambia. And we had a pretty huge budget. I think it was trailing towards $6 or $7 million plus at that time. So that's what I was responsible for. And, I was recommended to come and get the training at the Institute of Directors. I met Aunt Sylvia and Uncle Stephen and Mrs. Silotongwe and Mr. Mumbaka Pompa, Mr. Ambassador Chibamba Kanyama, and a few other colleagues. Anthony Mukwita, who was ambassador, I think was part of that training as well. So I was the kid on the block. I was the youngest person, and I'd actually been paired to sit and work with our good colleague who's since passed on, Augustine Seyuba. So it was very interesting for me, the little child, the little kid, to be amongst these people that I really looked up to. I would only see them on television, but there I was seated with them in this training program at Pamozi Hotel and learning about corporate governance and being a trainer. I think that's one of the best networks that has propelled me a lot. And I'll end here so that we get into the conversation. I don't preempt what I wanted to say.
So welcome to our 7:30 calls. We grow from there, and I'm sure the people that are listening from wherever they are seated, they are just saying, "Oh wow, we wish we can belong to a network." And this is why, even as she sits in Cape Town, her bags are going to be packed, and she's going to share with us on an open platform on Sunday, the 30th of July. And I am so much looking forward to just give you those hugs in person, the ones that we've been doing online.
Virtual.
So, networking for success. We've been doing virtual hugs. We're going to hug each other in person. I can't
In
wait.
person.
Yeah. So, networking for success in the social and cultural wheel of life can bring numerous, benefits, and these benefits are the things that I really wanted us to delve in. And in our enhanced social connections. How has your networking played a role in your personal and professional success? And why do you believe in networking?
Yeah, that's a packed question, and I'll see how I can address it here. Networks are very, very important, and professional networking is very, very important. Um, Prior to joining the Institute of Directors, I think the only network that I was a part of was the one for accountants. I trained as an accountant. I went to the accountancy training college in Chingola many years ago. I was a little kid. And after doing my accountancy training, the only networks that I had been a part of until that time, it was the Zambia Institute of Chartered Accountants, and then ACCA had a student version. So we had an association for student ACCA students in Zambia. So those are the only networks that once in a while I was pretty active with ZECA. I even served on one of the committees on council. Um, with the SCCA students part, I wasn't really active, but I would show up once in a while at the meetings. Okay. So up until that time, before I joined the Institute of Directors, my interaction with networks was very limited. And honestly, I think maybe I was just young, or I just did not know the value of, what networks can bring to me. And then I joined the institute, did the training. After the training, things just started happening so quickly. Next, Mrs. Silotongo was sending an email, oh, we're going to be having, a training of directors. I think that was Zafiko, I can't remember. And then I started thinking, I'm like, everything is just going so fast. This is a little overwhelming, but it was exciting to be part of that. I just got into the plunge. I'm like, I'm going to be part of this. And then would, of course, have the networking meetings at the Institute of Directors. I was co-opted to serve on board committees alongside yourself. And then I also stood to, for elections to be elected as, I think, the youngest board member, because I think I was just turning 30 at that time. So it was very exciting for me to be able to do that. But I had not known the value of networks until I got to that point. And being part of the Institute of Directors has delivered a lot of benefits to me. You've asked, what are the benefits of being a part of a network? I think first, it's access to information, and information that you don't find on the streets. So sometimes I use Bemba. If I use Bemba in this conversation, I don't know if somebody can type it out there, or I can assume a number of people are listening, or I can just translate. There's stuff that comes like teeth. When a child reaches a certain age, we know that it's a God ordained thing that teeth are supposed to come out of the mouth, because that's how it's supposed to be. That's nature. There's certain kind of information that can easily come your way, like teeth popping out the child's mouth, but there's certain kind of information that is not going to come out like teeth coming out of the mouth. You have to go and seek it, okay? And you have to be in places and spaces where that information is available. And you have to be, and so it's access to information. I think for me, that was the first big thing that networking helped me have access to, but then also access to individuals and their networks. Because when you access a person, it's not just a person that you're in touch with. Most people are gracious and kind enough to loop you into their network. So when you become a part of their network as well, you get additional value. So networking provides value at many different points. You have access to information that is not regularly available, but then you also have access to individuals that you can, reach out to and ask for advice. You have access to individuals that are going to think about you when they see an opportunity, and they would like you to present yourself, and they would like you to be part of that exciting opportunity. So I think for me, those were the two big things that being part of the Institute of Directors and just being part of a number of networks has delivered over the years. What was the other part? I think that was it. I'll end it for
Yes,
now.
you've done so well. And this has actually just brought some goosebumps in my on my skin, even if it's cold here. And I was even thinking as you were speaking that we've got some people who really think that this is not for me. I'm shy. I'm not going to be able to interact. And you find that, what I've also found out when we have been training, mindset change, when people are creating their pitch or their job description, what we call job description, where they list down the activities, the 20% of the activities that is going to produce 80% of their results. And we've seen that when those things are listed, one of them is collaborations and networking for success. What is the result? Referrals, enhanced business, because
Mhm.
people are going to be out there. And this is what we are saying. People need to have an open mind when they are
Yeah.
out there. They have to be deliberate about who they are going to meet. I'm sure
Mhm.
whenever there is an event, you're going to go there. And this is what actually is a subtraction from a lot of people. They go out there, they meet a lot of people, they come back empty. You are asking,
Mhm.
what was there? How can we, link? Who was there to link us from even like the training? Who is able to do this? Who is able
Mhm.
to pick up something? Or where are people going? What's happening around us?
Mhm.
People are blank.
Yeah.
And you wonder, why do you go to these things if you cannot fish out
Mhm.
one?
Yeah.
So what somebody is saying here is, when you've gone somewhere, be deliberate about who you're going
Yeah.
to meet and write down things for follow up so that you can be able to understand and get to know the things that are around you, which are usable. If you're just going there and there's nothing that you can be able to use, it's a challenge. And this is why we say knowledge and learning, there are opportunities there through networking, through insights, especially when you move from one place to the other. So, can you share a specific networking experience where you witnessed power of building connections? You have touched on it, but I just want you to tell us about a time when the networking opportunity led to a significant achievement in your career.
You're asking for one. I'm not a person who
And
shares
there, I
only
just
one
want
thing.
you to know.
You have asked for one. I'm not a person who only shares one thing.
Yeah.
Because yeah. So let me just see. Uh, okay. Yeah. So yeah, you've asked for one example. I'm not going to give one example. I'll try and give more than one example.
Oh,
I
that's
hope that
so
won't
fun.
let us go over time, and I hope that inspires people. So I'll start with my networks in Zambia, and I'll start with the Institute of Directors because, as you know, the Institute of Directors basically launched my career. I can see clear links. I've actually drawn a network. I was thinking to myself, when we have the conversation on Sunday, let's have a whiteboard and a marker so I can do a network map to show how IOD has
Yes, yes.
looked me and linked me to things that I thought, I wouldn't be a part of. So a few years ago, I was asked to um, do the financial oversight. So I do financial oversight training because I trained as an accountant. So I do the financial oversight training. I used to do the oversight training, for the Institute of Directors. It's a long time since I did that. So I used to do the financial oversight training, financial stewardship, and I'd been asked to do the training for Alchemy Women in Leadership. And Alchemy Women in Leadership is an organization that was founded by Chimango Chkwanda. And Chimango Chkwanda is the people of human resources. We used to call human resources director. She's the person in charge of people at ABSA. I shouldn't call it Barclays because I have a habit of sticking in the past at times. So she so we did the training for Alchemy Women in Leadership, and I was one of the people doing the training. And then after a while, it wasn't even a long while, I got an invitation from Alchemy Women Leadership to take part in a program that they were running, for for executive women, and I was a young executive woman at that time. So taking part in that training, that they were running. It was a 4-day, very, very intense training program. The things that I learned in that training program literally changed the way I started looking at things in my own life and what I wanted for myself. For the first time, I was seated in this space in Protea Chisamba, and somebody was asking me, what you want to be in 5, 10, 15 years from now? And I'm like, yeah, Shani, you know, you know, most of the times if you go to church, there's a way in which you relate to certain aspects of your life. Everything is ordered by the Lord, so you are operating in that sphere. It was the first time that somebody was asking me to be deliberate and to actually think about what I wanted my career to look like, what I wanted my personal life to look like in 5, 10, 15 years. And to sort of just do your own strategic plan as a person. So we did that in that session, but more importantly, it's being connected to a network that has delivered results to this day. So when I was going to that session in Tusamba, I went together with one of the trainers, and I had no idea. I was just told, oh, you're going to get a ride with this person because you missed the bus. I was a little sloppy that day. I ended up missing the bus that was taking everybody else. So I ended up getting on this van that was taking this lady who was one of the trainers, okay, to Chisamba. And on the way, as we were headed to Chisamba, it was me and this woman who was a trainer, and she's an amazing person. Okay. She works at the University of Oxford, and she runs her own big consultancy firm in impact investing. And I had no idea. It was just little Sombo trying to, having a conversation, and just stressed at that time by the work from Diaconia. And I just needed a getaway to go and learn something new. So as I'm having a conversation with this woman on the bus, she likes what I'm saying, and I have no idea. We're like maybe 5 or 6 kilometers from Chisamba. Then she says, Sombo, I'm going to bring you to Oxford. And I'm like, oh, she actually said my name. And we are together. I'm like, okay, there's the two of us in this bus and the driver. She said she's bringing me to Oxford. I'm like, is this a dream or is this real? And I sort of wanted to chuckle. I'm like, oh, are you serious? But I kept quiet. I was like, what? She said, yes, I'm going to bring you to Oxford because we've been developing a network of women, okay, that we are getting to go through a program on women leading, through change. And then we have another program. It's called the Oxford Impact Investing Program. So I would like you to be part of these things because I think you bring value. What you have said, as we have spent this drive together, going to wherever we are going, I don't know where we're going. I think you've said something very, very important, and I would really love you to be part of this network. I was shocked in that moment. And for a moment, a part of you wants to believe, and then a part of you is like, oh, well, maybe, when we get to Chisamba, this is going to be a thing of the past. This person is going to forget, and this will be it. We got to Chisamba, we arrived at Chisamba. We had the session, the first session, which was very intense, and it was later on, cocktail, and she was the last person to speak. And I remember to this day, she said, I have something to say. Just let me make one announcement. And then she goes like, I met a very interesting young lady today, and I'm bringing her to Oxford with me so that she can be a part of this network. And to Sylvia, I was seated in the chair, Nadia Mbokututuma, because I couldn't believe what was going on. I was like, she said this on the bus and she's saying this again. This better be serious. So Nambo Kututuma, and I looked, and she goes like, yes, Sombo, could you just stand up and say hi to everybody? This was in Chisamba, and it was 2014. I think that was March or April, early April. I stood up in 2014 and I said hi to everybody, and I sat down, and I was like, oh, she said that again. And from that moment, things went very quickly. Before I realized it, I was pinching myself on the train, on the plane, actually, flying from Nairobi, Kenya, into Heathrow. I was like, "Is this happening?" I was headed to Oxford. Before I realized it, I ended up. I'm an alumni of an Oxford, two Oxford training programs, and over the years, I've been invited to speak as a guest lecturer in their impact investing program, there's a case study that I was trained in, and I'm one of the facilitators for that case study. The power of networks. When I was trained by the Institute of Directors, got linked and connected to Alchemy Women Leadership in Zambia, I had no idea that, a few years later, even last year, I was giving a guest lecture at Oxford. I would be even giving lectures at Oxford. I had no idea. But I looped into a network that helped me connect to other networks, and those networks have helped me to connect to other networks. So that's just one example. Maybe the other two examples, we can leave them for the event on Sunday so that we don't say everything here. What do you think?
Yes, because we've got a whole 3 hours of sharing and having fun and just doing the things that we love. And we just already we've got about 5 who are coming. Just from yesterday's post, we've got 5 people coming. And I was saying, what should we do? Like set up what I said. Just said, anyone who wants to to come, you can bring your own drink. You can find something, obviously, because then the room which we have set is just adjacent to to our home. So at least there will be water and there could be some tea. But we are not limiting. We are not saying this is it's hard. She's only here. She's only available on a Sunday. So maybe let's just I invite her. We come and. This is why, because of what you're talking about, how people can tap into something and just how people can come out of, how they can experience the changes. And this is why I'm big on mindset change. You have to believe that there are some things which can happen to you in a good way, but you have to take yourself out there. Because if you don't take yourself out there, it's a problem. It's you'll be saying, oh, I'm unlucky, things don't happen. And for me, I have grown because of the networks. We launched this mindset change program as a network with people, and we are changing lives. And this is what it is that we have to to talk about. For me, I would tell you that because Sombo has been following me and we've been following each other, I just enjoy when I post something before even if people in Zambia see it. I don't know, because there's time difference and she's awake when people are sleeping. I just find she's always the first one to like what I'm doing, to encourage, and to just make me feel that I'm not wasting my time in the things that I do in mindset change. And for me, the best experience just when we're going to the UN to receive the awards of distinguished woman, UN. I said I want to do something as my legacy, and I want to just do a one pager. And for me, because me, I'm so ready. I like to explain. I don't know, because of teaching experience or consulting experience. I always think it's a proposal. People need to understand where you're coming from and where you're going. So I said I want to do this. This project as my legacy of building a co-working space where startups, people who are retiring, can have a space where they can work from, and we teach them corporate governance. We teach them how to become entrepreneurs, and we, this big dream. And I said, Sombo, I'm looking for $1 million. I said, oh, that's exciting. Let me, show me what you have written. And we started from 7 pages. We managed to do our 1 pager. And for me, that has stuck so much that there are people out there who are looking out for you and who can be able to help you. And especially if you are not scared of the numbers. And I said, Sombo, in America, there are people who leave money to institutions which maybe won't even do anything. So maybe as you network from the people that are coming to the university, from the way you're traveling, I'm sure if you get 10 people giving you $100,000, you'll be able to actually do something about it. You can be able to bring this $1 million. It's just, and I was even socializing when the Chibamba Kanyama was going through networks. How can you be speaking to an ambassador just like that? It's because you actually owe each other some experiences, and this is why all the time when you think that this is what you need to do, or how you need to, to network. You have to be networking for success. You have to be deliberate about these things. We've got a minute to go. Just type those things. Are you ready to network? You can find us. You can, do RSVP on our website to see those ones that have seen the, the flyer. If you haven't seen the flyer, just say, send me the flyer, and we'll be able to link it with you, and you'll be able to come and look at that whiteboard and see how she's going to be able to just teach you one or two things where we can understand that networking for success is real, and how we can be able to uplift one another. How you can just say, fun way, what is happening in your life? You share it, maybe in the group, as long as you're more than two. You have just heard they were just two, herself and the driver. If the driver is able to was able to be the one, it could have been the one. But you have to show up. You have to speak. Some people, when you arrive in a place, you don't even say hello to anyone. What's wrong with you? Say hello and say what you do. That's number one thing that you need to be able to bring out. When you say what to do, then people are going to place you. Okay, you have said you are this, so we want to place you in this area. And you find yourself in Oxford. You find yourself in Honolulu. You find yourself with Sunshine. You find yourself with also many things that really are good to drive our intentions. So networking for success is a place to be. So maybe you can just be able to wind down and just say something about your journey to here, to networking for success on the 30th of July.
Yeah, so I'm very happy and excited that I will be able to have this conversation in person with those that are going to be there. I think we have very limited space. We don't want to have a crowd. We're going to have, a small group of people, those that manage to RSVP with Z, whose number is passing on the screen here and also on the flyer, are the ones that are going to be admitted for us to have a conversation. So using networks was not only a one-off thing, like the time I was at the IOD, ended up going to Oxford. I've been part of networks throughout, and I will share when we meet on Sunday, if the Lord wills, on two other or more other instances when I've used networks. And last year, I just started on my new job as an assistant professor. And because of being part of networks, I ended up publishing 3 papers. It doesn't happen that easily, but because I'm part of networks, that was possible. I can have a conversation around how that was possible when we meet on Sunday. And a few years ago, the Association of Chartered and Certified Accountants, ACCA, did a global profile of me. I just gone to a cocktail and I met a person at the cocktail, and it led to one thing and another thing. So I don't undervalue the power of networks. And this is a person who literally came out of a shell, because prior, I just had my ACCA and my Zika grouping, the accountants part of the network. And also, I just used to go to church. So I thought church was the only network that I needed to have in my life. But I got out of the show when I got to the Institute, and I ended up being part of all these amazing networks that have helped me and have delivered on my life as time has gone past. So I'm just so happy and honored, and I'm very excited that I can get to have this conversation with those that are going to be present. We will talk about networks, and I think some of the things that we can talk about, how to break limiting, beliefs about ourselves, and how to just think through our careers. I think it's going to be a good conversation. So those that will be able to make it, we look forward to seeing you there, and pray that we have good weather. It's not as cold as it's been, because it's been cold. It's been cold here in Pretoria. I'm like, I spent the whole winter in the US. It was so cold. And I come home to Africa. I'm hoping it's going to be a little bit warm. And I come to a real African winter. It's been cold. So I hope we have good weather on Sunday and we can have a conversation.
Yes, I'm sure we're going to have good weather. Otherwise, we're going to be indoors. So never mind what the weather will be. We're just going to have a great conversation. I'll be signing some books there. So those ones that are coming, there will be book signing, so that you can just see how we have managed to grow in the networks with evidence. So thank you so much for joining us today. Look forward to next week, or look forward to tomorrow. It's a market day, and we're going to be sharing some insights with those that are going to join us again, the same time, 7:30. For today, I just say go out and be blessed and do something in the networks. Have a good day.